All I want to know, all I want is the touch of my burning hand. I've got my strokes on me to break the sound. Prime directive exterminate. Whole humanness on your face drops in a pile of flesh, and then your heart all pounds and bones to death. Prime directive exterminate. Whatever stands left, all I wanna say, and all I gotta do. Who do I do this for? Have me or you? Hello. Welcome to another episode of Facebook Evilive. This is episode 21. We've gone from being a once-a-week show to an everyday show, at least for the duration of my stay here in Colorado. I'll be back in New York on Monday. You know what? Actually, I'm so afraid if I flip this over, it's gonna not. Here, let's try. Yo, what's up? Hate doing this on the phone. So we update on the actual production of the Lodi project itself. I think that made a major step as of yesterday, which is good. More to develop. I really don't want to say too much about it. I hate talking about stuff when I'm not 100% able to deliver it yet. You know, I hate that. That sucks. So I'll keep my mouth shut about that for now. We're going to dive back into some more, excuse me, it's the seltzer. Today we're sponsored by Watermelon Bubbly. It's a really good variety of seltzer. No, we're diving back into Scream With Me. This is the third part of Scream With Me. And so yeah, I'm just gonna open that up and I hope this doesn't disappear on me. Okay. Ready. Oh, there she is. And I had some plastic gloves that I attempted to put on my hands, and they don't work the way that I want them to. So I have removed them, unfortunately. So you will have to see my repulsive nail-bitten fingers. And hopefully I won't get too many smudges on this beautiful book. I wonder if there's a way to clean that. Does anybody know? How do you clean that sort of stuff? Okay, we made it past horror business. Talked about all this good stuff. You know, it's funny. Yesterday, Umberto was like, oh yeah, these are my two black horror businesses. And then I know Henry Rollins has a black horror business, and I know that Devilman has a black horror business. So that's 4 of the 25 horror businesses on black vinyl from 1979 in existence. We know that 4 of them still exist, which is, I don't know, I thought that was kind of funny. Okay, we saw this. We went through this part. As in case you may not be aware, I am going through this book blind. So we are exploring this book together. I think we're actually up to 3 hits from hell. Yeah, we're up to 3 hits from hell. So, yeah, I'm literally every time I turn a page, I am seeing it for the first time with you. So that's the deal. So we got Roger from Agnostic quote for the book. Roger, I did not know this, that Roger is such an avid collector of Misfits and Samhain vinyl. Blew my mind. And it's so awesome to see him in some of the groups. Just another collector, man, just like the rest of us. Anything out of the norm caught my attention. That's why I let me take that line again. That's why I instantly loved punk when I discovered it. I love the attitude, the attention, and out-of-step direction. You know, the big fuck you to society. The Misfits seemed to have all those values mixed in with incredible theatrical edge to it all. I always thought of them as Kiss meets the Ramones, but with lots more attitude. Aaron, thank you for asking. Umberto, I'm sure you could provide him with links, but basically you can go to Barnes and Noble or you can go to Amazon where there are still copies. This is soon to be out of, well, it is out of print. So get it while it lasts. What's going on, John? How are you? Three hits from hell here. Okay, so now the lineup. I guess you could call this the classic lineup, right? This lineup was for 2 years, and it has Glenn, Jerry, and Doyle, right? And they recorded the bulk of the 53 songs, I think. Um, Maybe not, actually. But when I think of like the seminal classic lineup, I think of Glenn, Jerry, Doyle, and Arthur Googie. And this Three Hits from Hell was originally 12 Hits from Hell, the MSP sessions, and that was cannibalized and used to make two releases, two 7-inches, Three Hits from Hell, and the Halloween 7-inch. And you got 3 tracks here, London Dungeon. We know all about London Dungeon. Go look for my London Dungeon video, the collaboration I did with Gore Editor on that. And then you got Horror Hotel and Ghouls Night Out. Ghouls Night Out personally was one of my first Misfits songs that I ever heard, ever, along with Last Caress. And it just has a special place in my relationship with this music. All right, let's turn the page. Surprise me, Umberto. Surprise me. Whoa. Okay, so this right here, maybe not this one in particular, but these are like, this is still like the early Fiend Club flyer, right? Fiend Club envelope. That's what they first looked like. Although I guess this is 1981 now or 1980. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's just take a look here. And then you have this they did a lot of posters. You can find posters of Glenn. Glenn would write on the back of one of these and like write to people in the Fiend Club. And I just love that with the eyes. I don't know where he got the inspiration for this. I guess maybe it was just his original idea. I don't know. You could tell. So I guess that's Glenn up there, Jerry, Doyle, and Googie, I think. And then here's the back right here. And then Bobby is credited with extra guitars on London Dungeon. Someone who is not credited, and maybe Umberto, you're probably familiar with this as well, is I believe is Robbie Alter, who provided, he did a bunch of guitar tracks. He was kind of like the unspoken producer along with the Misfits, along with Glenn, and did a lot of the atmosphere track, like the feedback track on London Dungeon was this guy, Robbie Alter. He goes uncredited, really, for his contribution. But Bobby gets a little credit here, and I think that's because at this time, Bobby, had the Undead, and they were going to release Nine Toes later on Plan 9. So Glenn was, there for recording sessions. I was just talking about this, or I was just this was just mentioned with Joe from the Undead, Joe Stoker. What's wrong with the lens here? Is a little blurry. Let's fix that up right there. Joe Stoker was talking about this, and so I guess Glenn was there for the recording partially and helped with the layout and paid for the recording. So Glenn and Bobby had kept up, and then they had a falling out over an article that Tim Somer had written. Tim Somer from Noise the Show, who I've interviewed for my documentary. He wrote an article in a magazine called Sounds that really pissed off Glenn, and he booted Bobby, and it had to do with Tim mentioning that Bobby had accomplished more in 6 months than the Misfits had in 3 years or something, and that made Glenn mad, and he took it out on Bobby. Okay, so yeah, look at that. Bottom jacket is hand colored by Glenn. Where? I don't see that. Oh, I guess right here. Oh yeah, the eyes. Yeah, Glenn did that a lot, right? He would just add these little flourishes, these little tweaks. Wow, so cool. And then another quote from Howie. Since they were writing songs and naming them with all our favorite movie titles, I asked them to write one about my favorite movie, Horror Hotel. I did not know that. Actually, I did know that, but I think I knew that from this book. Maybe I did not. I don't know. Oh no, maybe Howie mentioned that on his Instagram. I don't know. But pretty great, pretty great. And yeah, just great layout, great artwork. Again, if anybody knows where the inspiration might have been for this, as Glenn would get inspired from time to time and sort of do his own riff, please comment. Let us know in the comments. Here's another 3 Hits from Hell. I guess this is a poster, right? Oh yeah, because this is the record, and then the posters, right? Is this? Yeah, that's a poster. That's the promotional poster. And if you go to Cardi's Sugar Bowl in Lodi, New Jersey, Benson has one of these guys hanging on the ceiling that he hung up there in 1981, and it's been up there ever since. Super, super cool. And notice this one, the poster has the famous Monsters of Filmland font, as opposed to this one, which has the Misfits. And what's interesting is that this is the first time. So what was the previous release? Was Night of the Living Dead. So Night of the Living Dead was the last time they used that font, right? Oh, John says it's from the Misfits, the film. So I guess around this time is when Glenn got riffed or had his feathers ruffled about Minor Threat with their logo and stopped using that old logo and then switched to the logo font from the Misfits film with Marilyn Monroe before then changing his mind again and doing Famous Monsters of Filmland. But this must have been roughly at the same time where he decided to make that stylistic change. I don't know if you can speak to that at all, Umberto. But yeah. And then they did a white pressing. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the white one. I don't know why that was chosen. Hi, Ulrich. How are you? Welcome. John says, I think that's the inspiration for 3 Hits. There's an alternative poster with that cutout. Interesting. And you can see here it's black and white. Yeah, it's just a weird choice to do a black and white. Maybe it might have been a budget thing, although the vinyl itself is white, which would have cost extra because it's color vinyl. So he must have made a decision to do, there's a red one too, right, Umberto? There's a red, I think it's red, white, and black, right? Pretty sure. Okay, anyway. And then, yes, okay, so I saw this on Facebook. Somebody posted this. And there's a dude who actually kind of looks like Doyle, one of Doyle's sons a little bit. I guess he was a friend of the band, but he kind of looks like Doyle's son. Am I wrong? Obviously it couldn't be Doyle's son because Doyle was a teenager, but yeah, I don't know. Look at that cool-ass horror business sleeveless shirt. Quote from Erie Vaughn. Doyle and I went to high school with this guy. He played on our Lodi High football team with Doyle. This photo shows one of the first color horror business shirts I made just days before. I screened the black and then hand painted the rest. Doyle wore one on stage. I'm about to sneeze, guys. Hold on. Excuse me. Oh, man. So that's interesting. So even though it's a black and white photo, and you can kind of see it looks like it's kind of hand-colored right here. It's a little bit splotchy. But back then, when they were doing the super primitive screen printing, and if you wanted, oh, here we go, another sneeze. Thank you. God bless you. So for every color that you're doing, you need a new screen to print, and so back then, instead of making 3 different screens for red, yellow, and black, you just do one for black and then you hand color the rest, which is probably much faster, but it doesn't look nearly as good. So he says that he screened the black and then hand painted the rest. Doyle wore one on stage at the East Side Club that August night in Philadelphia while the shot was taken in a McDonald's on the way home from the show. They loved hanging out in McDonald's. That was their jam right there. Here you go. This is the first show that they did with the Necros. I was actually supposed to have an interview with Todd today. I had to cancel on him because I only have my phone. We've been meeting every Wednesday, and he's been doing interviews for my documentary for this Lodi project. So there you go. That was at Bookies in, I guess this was 1981, right? I saw the Misfits more than 40 times. Wow. Think about that. I saw the Misfits more than 40 times between 1981 and 1983. Sometimes it was amazing and sometimes it was awful, but it was always fun. Todd Swalla. And some of them, including their last show. Um, it's kind of funny actually. I'm thinking about like the band that I've seen the most, and the band I've seen the most is actually Blitzkid because I toured with them. I've seen Blitzkid over 50 times in such a condensed period of time. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Um, so here's another flyer. Hey, hey, hedgehogs! Time to thrash it out. Horror business. The Misfits from New York City. See, it says the Misfits from New York City, not from New Jersey, because they were a New York band. They were not a New Jersey band. When they played their hometown show, it was at Madison Square Garden. That was their hometown show. It was not at the Prudential Center. What's going on, Rue? How are you? And here's another one. These were three different flyers for this show. Misfits and the Necros. And the Necros worshipped the band. Absolutely worshipped these guys. They were a lot younger, and they knew about them from all those early singles. So there you go. September 12th, 1981. September 12th is when my son was born. Whoa, look at this page. This is cool. Okay. All right. Now, this is interesting. Umberto, correct me if I'm wrong, but because this has American Nightmare on it, this is the Plan 9 version of Walk Among Us. So before they signed a deal with Ruby and Slash, Glenn was going to put it out on Plan 9. And I believe yes, it is. It's different mixes as well, especially because Devil's Whorehouse is so friggin' different. If you can find the Plan 9 version of Devil's Whorehouse, it is much, much different than anything else. So I guess, let's see, what does it say? Yes, Plan 9 Walk Among Us, hand lettering. Track list, yeah, cool. And I guess he wrote that, he wrote that out? Yeah, handwritten. That's the track list, handwritten by Glenn. And that was the original. And so American Nightmare didn't see the light of day until Legacy of Brutality in 1985. But so a lot of these songs were originally for 12 Hits from Hell. And then they were re-recorded, repurposed for Plan 9. There was the Plan 9 version. And then when they struck a deal with Ruby / Records, they remixed everything. John says they did that with the Samhain posters too from New York. Yes, because they were a New York band. Misfits, Samhain, and Danzig can all be considered New York bands, in my opinion. That is the artwork. Umberto, what do you mean? You mean this is the actual artwork for the purported Plan 9 release? That's what I'm assuming that you mean. And if so, that's really cool. What a cool thing to have in your collection. I guess before Glenn was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to put it out myself, and then got a sweet distribution deal. But they ended up having problems with Ruby and Slash. And Ruby and Slash still own Walk Among Us to this day. And that's why you have those earache variants. Like there's like 1,000 different pressings of Walk Among Us. Those dudes just keep printing it up because it's like printing money. Erie says, you can hear this story in more detail in Erie's book, Misery Obscura, which I believe is still in print. I found a hole in a cave. The band and I were shooting in and thought it might be good, but the flash kept bouncing off the rocks. I wasn't happy with them at the time, but they fixed up nicely. The whole shoot was a gamble. I went as far as I could to get good shit, but I was losing light and had to wing most of it. I was just 16 years old. Wow. So here are some of the shoots from that cave photo shoot. This is when Erie first met Glenn, right? This is like and started a relationship, that would go all the way to 1995. Those dudes eventually were like, just the dynamic duo, right? And I guess he's shooting them through. They're down in a cave, and he's shooting them from above through an opening in the cave. And these shots here were used for the 12 Hits from Hell album cover. That was designed by Tom Bejgrowicz, the guy who wrote and formatted this book. Yada yada yada. Here's another cave shot. Gorgeous. And Tom and Erie are close because Tom helped Erie with his book, and so I'm sure it was very easy, effortless to get Erie on board for this project. And I'm so glad that he's represented here. Look at them. There's the Harlock shirt that everybody would like. Just Glenn did the Harlock shirt or made the Harlock cool, and then everybody else took notice. And their Devilocks are pretty short. Doyle's just starting his devil lock. So what they did was they had theirs, and you can see the photos, to make their devil locks more pronounced, especially Jerry. There was a time where they kind of had this Mongolian thing. It's called the Mongolian cut. Like they shaved the sides of their head real short, like almost to the skin, and then let it grow in like that. And you could find photos. I'm sure. I don't know what the show is, but one of those shows. Shot just outside the cave in August of 1981, and nobody knows where this fucking cave is. I only took one or two in this setting. This one shows a little bit more of the band than the one that ran in my book, Misery Obscura. So that's Erie's book. You can buy that as well. So check that out. I'm sure you can get that on Amazon. I don't know if there's a better way to get Erie a few more shekels, but just seek out that book. It's a great book full of lots of great photography. Misery Obscura. We're at Halloween. Okay, so maybe we'll do, how long have we been going for? 20. Okay, all right, we'll go for a little bit longer. All right, so who is this? Okay, this dude from the Gorilla Biscuits and Quicksand, Walter, I don't know how to say that last name. Sheriff Falls, whatever. The Misfits have been influential for the precedents they set early in the punk game. Fun, horror, sex, melody, and very strong imagery to match. Remember, guys, and I want to do a whole dissection on this. Nike A Go-Go is a song about a boy having sex with a missile. Yeah, we're going to talk all about that. Fucking weird as shit. And because they were never truly popular in their time, Misfits fans still have that feel of intimacy with them, of being in on the secret. That's so true. You can collect all the singles, wear the t-shirts, and perhaps, until recently, most people wouldn't know what you were into, but they would, God, this is written weird, but they would probably want to. The recordings are so raw that they could never be mainstream. Although Sean Garrison, who wrote Little Fiend, would beg to differ. In comparison, the Ramones sound smooth and polished, while the Misfits' songwriting stands above their contemporaries. A true outlier, which in the end is a long way of saying it's the songs. Okay, sorry, I totally butchered that. I'm not going to reread it. That's what I get for sort of just going like this. Sorry, I'm making everybody dizzy. So here we go, Halloween. This is also taken from the MSP sessions. You have Halloween and Halloween 2. Same lineup as before. This is interesting. So Halloween 2 is so interesting. I think, you know what's funny? I wonder if Halloween 2 actually came first. You know what I mean? Somebody did a super edit, like a really fun super fan edit, where they had Halloween 2 first and then spliced in Halloween, because I think it's maybe it's the 12 Hits from Hell version. Halloween 2 ends with the sped up Halloween 1, and someone just sort of spliced it together so it runs into, if someone could find that on YouTube and post it in the comments, that'd be great. It's just a really cool thing. So I kind of like the idea of Halloween 2 sort of opening things up and then going into Halloween. All right, let's see what awaits us. Wow. Probably one of the single coolest covers. I mean, I just got done saying how I loved Horror Business. Horror Business is my favorite 7-inch, but look at that fuck, as Glenn likes to say, do you like my pumpkins? Do they fucking look cool? You know what's interesting? There's like this weird blank space here. This kind of looks like Jerry's tattoo. This skull right here. This is like weird space. I wonder if Glenn illustrated these skulls, or if where he found those skulls. They have been cannibalized, including myself, over and over. And this was actually, I think this was also one of their glossy 8x10s as well. And there's the official first use of the famous Monsters of Filmland font. So I guess technically that font premiered itself on the 3 Hits from Hell poster. I'm not going to go back and find it, but it first appears on a 7-inch here. And it's just gorgeous, man. I mean, it's just friggin' gorgeous. Hey, Alberto, what's going on? Welcome. And I love this pumpkin. I don't know where the pumpkin comes from or where it originates. I don't know if Glenn drew that. If anybody knows, I would love to hear the origin of this pumpkin. As you know, for the reunion shows, Glenn and Jerry had these giant ones constructed. I got to walk on the stage at Chicago Riot Fest, and I got to touch those pumpkins, and they are like, they're super lightweight. I mean, obviously they're not, they're heavy, but the material is lightweight, and they're very, they almost feel like plastic. They're like made out of fiberglass, and they're just super fucking cool. And I don't know where this font comes from, the Halloween font. Again, if anybody has this information, I would love to know it personally. And on the back, he has the lyrics in crude Latin to Halloween 2. Formula uterus ectasis mortem et communicarum strigis et fictos lupos credere daemon pellum lupinam intruco quandam quae arbitus occultum. My favorite line of all. Metamorphosis lycanthropy presunt inquam. Metamorphosis lycanthropy presunt inquam. Yeah, so Alberto says, good question. It looks like something Glenn ripped from. Yeah, probably. I bet someday we're going to discover where that pumpkin really comes from. I want to believe that Glenn came up with that, but who knows? Look at this. If you look here, it has that dot, that dot pattern that you see in a lot of comic books. So maybe it came from some comic book, some obscure comic book. One day we're going to find out. We'll find out the truth. And yeah, so Halloween's from 1981, and it's dedicated to Susan Hannaford. I know I said that a bunch of times, from the Mad Monster Movie Club. And here is Glenn's beautiful insert for Halloween. I mean, God, he had such a sense for graphic design, man. And I wonder where that bat came from. He just finds stuff and just put it in there. Bonfires burning bright, pumpkin faces in the night. I remember Halloween. Dead cats hanging from poles. Little dead are out in droves. I remember Halloween. Brown leaf vertigo, where skeletal life is known. I mean, it's poetry, man. It's poetry. Yeah, it's a song, but like he's a poet, man. He's a poet as much as he is a musician or a graphic designer or, you know, whatever else you want to call him, or a photographer. This day, anything goes. Burning bodies hanging from poles. I remember Halloween. The best, my favorite line of all. Candy apples and razor blades, little dead are soon in graves. I remember Halloween. This day, anything goes. Burning bodies hanging from poles. I remember Halloween. Just fucking great. And then I guess I didn't realize there was a yellow variant. That must be rare. Umberto, is that rare? The yellow version? The yellow variant? I would imagine it is. And then here's the white version, which just makes no fucking sense. Why does this exist? Why the fuck does the white version exist? It's just like, it's so blasé. It's so plain to me. You know, like this makes sense. I'm getting text messages. Jesus. I'm on my phone. Can't do this now. I should actually, maybe I can. There we go. That won't be a bother. Sorry, guys. So why a white version? It must have been for budgetary reasons. Maybe it was in high demand and he wanted to run some off and it was cheaper to do white. Umberto, another question. So is the yellow variant, only come in the white, with the white cover? Or was that mixed in with the orange as well? In 1981, I met Jerry and Glenn at Club 57 because they said they had to see me because they had a surprise for me. I hadn't the slightest idea what that surprise could be, and I was hoping it wasn't alive. Jerry had a bet. Wow, Jerry had a pet bat at one point, but I think the health department took it away from him. They gave me a first pressing of the record Halloween. It was what a thrill and an honor. There is an incredible loyalty among Monster Movie Club members. Susan Hannaford, Monster Movie Club. Very, very touching. And so here's the thing. Again, so I talked about this before. So back in the year 2000, Mark Kennedy from Misfits Central is interviewing Glenn. I'm referencing this again because we're on the Halloween section. Mark Kennedy's talking to Glenn Danzig, and Glenn is giving him a rundown of how many he remembers off the top of his head of what was pressed. Mark kind of had a ballpark ideas. He had gone through this data with Tank, with Jonathan Grimm, Jim Dorsey, and Elizabeth. I can never say her last name. Elizabeth Boris, who's in my documentary. Both Jonathan, all three of them, Mark Kennedy, Elizabeth, and Jonathan Grimm are all in my documentary. In any case, Glenn, and this speaks to, we were talking in the Facebook group. If you don't belong, check it out. They came from Lodi Facebook group. We're there's this thread in our group, and it's a phenomenal thread where everybody is just analyzing, just like like just like running over like all the data, like not data. Sorry, I'm like my words are all jumbled up. Everybody's antagonizing themselves over these gloves, these hand painted skeleton gloves that Glenn did, and we're trying to figure out like matching them up to photos and whatnot. And Tanner, who's in the group, said something very astounding and true, and just totally Glenn's MO. That these gloves were auctioned off, and when asked about them, Glenn said, "Those aren't mine. Those aren't mine, and I've never seen them before." And it's just like Glenn just doing that, just being contrarian for no reason. And in the same way, he did that when people are trying to find out information about the vinyl, right? About like how much of what was pressed. Hold on, I'm switching this back. How much of what was pressed, and he's going through it. And Glenn has to say, oh yeah, there were 10 green Halloweens. And it's just like, there's no green Halloween on vinyl. I mean, it's just bullshit. It's just disseminating information to make everything more chaotic. That's what Glenn likes to do, man. I don't know. I don't know if any of that made sense, but all right, we're turning the page. Ooh, look at this in a paper. Beautiful. I love this. I love the way that they put the red highlight there with the Necros Halloween show, the 3rd annual Halloween show. But that's not true because they had done a Halloween show in 1977. Their 3rd show, Franche Coma's first show, was a Halloween show. So I guess this is really the 4th annual show, I think. At the National Ukrainian Home. And Todd Swallow did a sound check on that show, and trying to remember, Harley Flanagan was at this show. You can see a picture of Harley, Barry from the Necros, and Glenn holding up a Halloween vinyl. And Harley is like stretching out his face, and that was taken at the Ukrainian Home, I believe. I've actually been to the Ukrainian Home. I've gone there with my friends back in like 2005 or 2006, and I remember like, wow, this is where the Misfits played. I don't know if the National Ukrainian Home, it's a Ukrainian spot. I don't know if it is still. Yes, Alberto, that's true. He does give a quick rundown, but those numbers are super inflated. They're not accurate numbers. It was all bullshit, man. And right now, the guys in the Fiend Collector group are like doing lots of research. They have lots of reasons why. I can't go over them right now, but there's a lot of reasons why. So here's some more great flyers. We've seen these a million times. What a show. There you go. Misfits and Necros. Ukrainian Hall flyers. Designed by Abby Mahler, and I guess she was Al Pike's girlfriend. And I was working on layouts for my fanzine Straight Edge and decided to whip up a couple of flyers for the upcoming Misfits Necro show at the Ukrainian Hall. Al Pike and I were living in a small apartment in Brooklyn at the time. Lucky for me, he had an old famous Monsters of Filmland mag that was buried in a crate with some punk scenes. I liberated the Eddie Monster and the Monster of Piedras Blancas pages, and I had my flyer backdrops. Wow. That's just how you did it, man. You go through magazines. Photoshop before Photoshop existed, man. That's just what you did. It's fucking art, man. The band logos were applied using the basic cut and paste technique. And I mean, literally cut and paste. It's like analog cut and paste. While the venue location lettering was transfer press type letters. So transfer press type letters are letters that are on translucent, like plastic paper. You put it down on your work, and then you scratch the letters on it. It transfers onto the paper. Super duper archaic. But that's the way you did stuff back in the day. Let's see what else. Real primitive stuff done with a glue stick, safety scissors, press type letters, and a lot of patience. As I recall, Al was less than thrilled that I'd cut up his monster mag, but he and the Misfits and the Necros loved the outcome, as did we all. And now here they are, immortalized forever. All your hours of work, the toil for good cause is now immortalized forever in the pages of this book. Sorry, I'm like sniffly, guys. Here you go. So here is another very famous The Four Riders. This was the show at the Ritz, right? Oh man, is this the one with? Yeah, this is the infamous show, man. Okay, let's see how much we got. Oh, jeez. Let's see. Let's look at our time here. Okay, we're okay. Let's keep going. Just wet my whistle here. So this is the only time that the Misfits and the Undead played together, along with a band called Heart Attack, featuring a very young Jesse Malin, only at 14 years old. And I believe Danny Sage was also in that band, or at least he was hanging around at that time. Danny Sage and Jesse Malin would go on to form D-Generation with Howie Pyro. Trying to remember. Yes, Alberto, the Four Riders indeed did get put on the reunion shows. Very uninspired. Here's a chance to do something really original and new. There's so many wonderful opportunities, and they just pulled something from the vault, which was kind of disappointing. So this is actually from a Hammer film. I forget the name of the Hammer film, but I was watching it last year on Halloween, and I recognized the Four Riders. I went, holy shit, that's where he got it from. And I took a photo of it somewhere in my photos. I'll have to find that. So yeah, this took place at the Ritz. The Ritz eventually became Webster Hall on 3rd Avenue. Seen many a show down there. I used to actually live down by there. And here's some concert listings. So there's a rivalry. So remember how we said there was a falling out between Glenn and Bobby after Glenn was going to press up Nine Toes Later on Plan 9 Records. And yes, thank you, Umberto, Captain Clegg. But Umberto, there's another title. Captain Clegg is only one of the titles for that Hammer film. There's another title for Captain Clegg as well. And I believe it has Oliver, what the fuck is his name? The guy from the Curse of the Werewolf, Oliver something. Oliver, it's escaping me. In any case, there's a lot of animosity between the Misfits and the Undead at this show. And the Misfits heckle Bobby from while he's playing Ratfink in his set. And he played Ratfink in the set because he just wanted to show everybody, because at the time there were rumors going around that Bobby was kicked out because his guitar playing was not up to snuff. And that's just bullshit. We all know that Bobby was the best guitarist that they ever had. He was just a fucking, again, no offense to France Coma or Doyle, but Bobby was the best, man. He had the most chops, and it was using that rumor was not cool. It was should have just said what the truth was. And so Bobby wanted to prove to everybody that, he knew how to play. So he played Ratfink, which he used to cover, which the Misfits used to play and had covered. And you can hear that on the Night of Living Dead 7-inch. And he does a smoking version of it. And that made the Misfits really fucking mad. And when they got on stage, they had alternate lyrics to Teenage Samara's, Bobby asshole, he's a fucking cunt, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to go, the Undead fucking suck, yada, yada, yada. Immortalized forever on a bootleg. And there were beer cans being thrown. Bobby was throwing stuff. The Misfits were throwing stuff. They undid a rail. There was footage shot on a U-matic tape that was in Bobby's possession. I believe both of the Misfits and the Undead, that has never, ever circulated and probably lost to time. I have Danny Sage talking about this incident in my movie, They Came From Lodi, which is what this whole thing is about. Okay, moving on. Here you go. Some more stuff. So on Broadway would eventually be used for Evilive, right? And The Sound of Music. Another flyer with Toxic Reason. See? From New York. Never from New Jersey. Always from New York. Right? San Francisco show flyer. Oh shit. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, oh look, it says with film. So I wonder if they played a film and then the Misfits burst out at the end. So if I'm not mistaken, this San Francisco flyer might be for when the infamous El Kabong incident happened. That was either in 81 or 82. I think it was 1981. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Here we go. What is this? All right, here you go. Government issue, The Necros and the Misfits at the 930 Club in D.C. So I have an interview with John Stab from Government Issue talking about this very show and just his experience with Glenn and the Misfits. And he didn't really like the Misfits that much, but I thought it was really cool to get him talking about the band and his perspective, the DC perspective on the Misfits. And Jonathan Stab is no longer with us, but I'm grateful that his unreleased interview is intact and will be seen in the documentary. Rest in peace, Jonathan Stab. And here's another one for that. So Government Issue headlined with the Misfits and the Necros opening. Okay. We've made it to Walk Among Us. You know, fuck. I think we're gonna, let's put a pin in this for now. What time? It's 40 minutes. Yeah, fuck it. Let's put a pin in it. We will reconvene tomorrow night. It's not like I'm going anywhere. So again, there's nothing much to update because, I've been doing this every day. I think this is the third day in a row that I've done a broadcast. So there's nothing really much to say, except that I just want to say I'm super happy with how the Facebook group has been going. Please check it out. Keep your eyes peeled for 1979. When I get back home, I'm going to fly right back into the editing suite and finish that up. If you'd like to support the creation of this content and this art, please feel free to buy a cup of coffee. Links are in the comments. And if you don't have a dime to spare, you can go on my website, Frumess.com, click on some of the ads. The pennies go into my AdSense account. Doesn't cost you a dime, and you are still supporting the creation of this content. And lastly, I'd just like to say, again, these books, these Scream With Me books are for sale. Please pick one up. They are out of print. Due to a lawsuit, they are now out of print officially. They can no longer be repressed. Get them while they can. Okay, folks? This is a book you want to own. As we go day to day, we're just deep diving into the book. And Umberto has been so kind to jump on the streams and fill in some of the gaps in questions that we have. So big shout out to Umberto for being here. Again, Umberto, I hope we'll see you again tomorrow night. Same bat time, same bat channel. That's going to be 7, I guess, roughly 7-ish Eastern Standard Time. It's 5 o'clock for me. And I'm trying to think of anything else. Anything else Misfits related? Alberto says, thank God I got a copy. That's right. And that's thank you, Umberto. And definitely when it becomes safe again, I definitely want to see your collection in when I'm back in New York, somehow, some way. But we could talk about that another time. Okay. Peace and hair grease, everybody.